Hey guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, bringing you another A to Z build challenge video. This is like my 7,000th time trying to start this video, and luckily every single time that I've gotten into the video and actually started talking, it's only been for like 2 minutes max. There's just been a few things getting in my way this morning, such as me forgetting to speed up a whole section of video, and yeah, when I edit anything in this video while it's playing, it will stop playing, which I'm not used to because in Blender you can make those edits and no one would know because it still moves, it still goes. But if I edit it in this program, then I have to either kind of freak out and try and fix it, and figure out where I've been, like where I'm up to in terms of voiceover, or just start from the start. And because I didn't get that far through it, I just started from the start. But also one of my neighbours is doing lots of yard work, so I had to get up and close the window, and I accidentally also called this the Pokemon build series. So yeah, I've had to restart a couple of times, but you know, we're gonna get in and we're gonna get this one done. So yeah, as you can probably tell by the title, I decided to build a sort of Korean barbecue. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't have a very strong knowledge of other countries, like not just Asian countries, but just other countries in general, their particular styles. Like I'm not very confident with specific European styles. Like if you showed me an Asian build and a European build, I would be able to look at it and go, okay, that is from this part of the globe, that is from that part of the globe. But if you were to ask me to be specific about it, could not tell you. I'm really not all that confident in identifying these specifics. So if there are things that I have done in this build that aren't accurate to Korea, please let me know. Because I definitely do want to be a bit more accurate within my building and my knowledge, I guess. So yeah, if you know that, like, oh, in Korea they don't do this particular style of build, yeah, definitely please let me know down below, because again, I would like to be accurate in what I'm doing, and I love to learn. I like to learn new things and how these things came about and why these styles exist in this particular way. Like, I know that weather differences can be a contributing factor, and I know that cultural differences and material differences, they all play a factor in how we all have different build styles. I mean, even if you come to Australia and you visit different states, there are going to be different build styles. There's going to be different the builds that exist. So I know in Queensland, there are houses on stilts, A, to prevent your house from being flooded, but B, it has really good airflow, and it helps with airflow, and with one of the hottest states, that makes sense. But if you go to, I believe some places in South Australia, potentially even Northern Territory as well, there are houses that are actually built underground. So yes, maybe it is a 2-story house, but the second floor is completely underground, or it's built in the side of like a hill, and it's because it just gets so hot out there that you need to have underground houses so that your house doesn't get hit by the sun at any point, so that you can actually live and exist in such hot places. Because these particular houses I'm talking about are more in I guess Central Australia. Like it's just not very habitable, I guess. I saw a map that I'm not sure is entirely accurate, but it said that apparently over half of the population lives in what looks to me, they didn't give percentages on the map, but they coloured in the spots where over half Australians live, and it looks like it's 0.005% of the entire country. So I would say, a lot of places, I've been to a lot of places on the east and west coast of Australia, I've lived in a lot of these places as well, so I've seen and experienced many different houses, but I would say, yeah, in the cities and whatnot, they're pretty much the same. But you can kind of tell based on the house that, yeah, you're probably in a different state. And again, it's simply because in these circumstances, it's mostly weather, and it makes sense that the houses would be different based on the weather. So yeah, I find stuff like that pretty fascinating. And as a kid who moved around a lot, I would notice that, these houses are really different. Like, this house over here in this state, like, it has none of the things that the house over here in this state does. And I know that as we progress through time, and that air conditioning never used to be a thing, and so the houses that were built pre-air conditioning were built to avoid weather or to reduce the severity of the impacts of the weather. But as we get more, like, even just like better insulation and better ways to heat and cool the house in terms of materials, there obviously is a bit more of a communal, I don't want to say communal, but like a bit more of a style of house that's a bit more just Australian. Like, you could kind of see it anywhere, which is just kind of like a generic house, I guess. But yeah, like, if you go to anywhere in Europe, you will see a bit more of a European style, which, again, you would have to know the specifics of each thing to be like, okay, this is that particular country, and it applies to Asia as well. There are certain styles that are specific to Asia, but then when you look at that specific style, you can break it down even further and be like, okay, this belongs to, even to say this style belongs to this particular part of this particular country, It's the same as, like I said, the Queenslander houses and the houses in, I believe, South Australia that are underground. Like, these are all specific to an area that is specific to a country. So, it's something that I would love to know. That's a really long roundabout way of me saying, if you know anything about how I can improve certain styles of builds that you see me do, please definitely let me know down below. Let me know in the comments about what things I've missed, what things that I've overlooked, or gotten wrong, or anything like that. Please absolutely let me know. And again, it's something that I do want to look into, so I think going into the future, I'm definitely going to see if there's any, like, courses or anything like that, or I mean, it doesn't have to be like a full-on degree or anything like that, but even just like a fun day course to teach me the difference between the different European styles, the different Asian styles, the different Western styles, like, all of that. I would love to know, what are the different types of modern style. And, like, even if you look at specific architects, they all have their own individual style, even if they have similar concepts within those styles. You can look at a build, and I've seen people do this, where they look at a build and they go, that's this person, and I'm like, I've never even heard of that person before. So I do feel a little unknowledgeable. That's not the word. I feel like I don't know as much as other people in these areas, and that's okay. I'm still having fun and exploring, and there's a reason why certain things I don't feel comfortable approaching in terms of building, because I don't want to come across as like I'm just building it for fun. And I do build for fun, but at the same time, there are certain things that I think that when you build, you should take into account the realities of the, like, how these builds came about and things like that. I don't feel particularly comfortable building. Okay, let's take a church, for example. I feel comfortable enough building a church. I know enough about Western churches to be able to build something like that. I've seen them architecturally. I've been inside of churches. That's something I'm more comfortable with. But something like a shrine or a temple or something like that is something I'm a little less comfortable with. I have been inside of places such as these before, but my knowledge of these places is very, very limited, and again, I don't want to build something and then do something like wrong, because with a church, I know there are certain rules, and I've been to different types of churches as well. I know some are a bit more traditional, I know some are a bit more modern. I don't think that's the right word, but you know, that there's different types of churches for the Christian religion that, you know, that there's many different things. I know there are some that are, like I said, much more traditional, and typically have older groups of people, so the way that even just the place is run and the way the services are run and things like that is a lot different to the way that services are run for churches that have younger people within them. You know, the things that they talk about, and even just the way, like, again, I've been to different churches, I've seen older and younger congregations, and it's very different. And you notice that architecturally. I know that with one of the older churches I've been to, they had the traditional wooden pews. Like, these were very, I'm not gonna lie, very uncomfortable. But wooden pews, and the, I guess, preacher, I'm not sure if that's the right term, was wearing these, no, they weren't fancy robes or anything like that, but they were wearing robes. And people took communion, and there was a certain way you did it and whatnot, and I was so uncomfortable because that's not what I'm used to. Like, I had only ever been to a church like that a handful of times in my life, and not something I was very comfortable with and whatnot. But then I've also been to more modern churches where the pastors and people who are giving sermons and stuff like that are wearing much more relaxed clothes. They're still like smart casual, but you know, it's not your Sunday best. And yeah, I don't know, it's stuff like that. Like, I've experienced it, I've lived it, I've looked at it, I've asked questions and things like that, and it makes me feel comfortable to approach builds like that. But let's say a mosque. I have done some studies on mosques and stuff like that, and you know, I feel like I have some knowledge in that area, but to have enough knowledge to build a mosque, I don't think I would. But I would absolutely love to see somebody else build one, and to be able to you know, download it and have a look at it and understand how it all, I mean, to be able to even build a mosque in The Sims, I think you would be a bit limited just because of the game itself, but I would still love to see something like that. I would love to see all sorts of different unique and special buildings like that. You know, everyone can build a little house. You know, everyone can build a little cottage or whatever. And don't get me wrong, some people build the most beautiful cottages I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm not going to deny that. Like, I could not build a cottage that beautiful, that well done, at all. Like, just without a doubt. No, could not do it. But there are some other builds that I've just not seen many other people approach. So if you've got builds like that you've done, please definitely leave me your gallery name down below and I will have a look. I love to see builds that are just very, very different from the mainstream. And I understand that, you know, when a new pack comes out, people will be building obsessively around that style and then go back to what they're comfortable with. And it kind of goes through that cycle of, okay, here's a new pack, here's a new thing, bunch of new things, people will build on that, and then we go back to normal kind of builds, and then, well, I say normal, but like everyone's goes back to the style that they're comfortable with, and then something else comes out, and it kind of cycles back and forward between, okay, you know, that there are people out there who do lots of cottages, and then suddenly they're attempting to build something very modern or retro or like some other style. And I'm not saying they do it badly, because they absolutely don't. They absolutely nail it and it's fantastic. But when it's done, they go back to building their cottages. Or if they are used to building castles and, you know, the for rent comes out, suddenly they're building a rental lot and then they go back to building castles. And don't get me wrong, again, I love to see castles and cottages and everything that people build, but I want to see more. I want to see what is the fun, crazy, weird stuff that you guys build. You know, I've seen, okay, don't get me wrong, castles will always be something that I am never upset at seeing, because they're amazing and big and fantastic. But with certain other, like, I've seen people, like, I've talked about this before, I saw somebody do a castle that looked like a sand castle. That is what I'm talking about. Like, okay, cool, you could do a cottage, but how do you make it fun and different and unique and something that is mind-blowingly different? And that's kind of the stuff I want to see more of. You know, yeah, you could build a house, but what makes it different? Yes, you could build an apartment block, but what makes it special compared to the others? What makes it look different, feel different, exist differently? And don't get me wrong, I still appreciate all of the things that people do that are, I don't want to say traditional, but like traditional. If you build a modern apartment block, I still love them. Still love them and will always love them. There's just some things that I would love to see that I don't see, such as, like I said before, mosques or temples or what was the other word I used? Basically, I want to see things that are not traditional houses. Or, you know, if you're going to build a restaurant, why not attempt a style that people don't really do? Like, I've not seen many Asian-inspired restaurants. Like, I've seen some plenty of modern or diners I've seen a lot of. I've seen a lot of like fancy bougie restaurants, or like mum and pop shop type restaurants, like smaller type things. I want to see fun new stuff. So, you know, if you've got stuff like that, please definitely let me know down below. Or even if you do have something that, you know, okay, I've just said, like, okay, a fancy restaurant, why is it different? Is it underwater? Is it up on top of a mountain? Did you build a whole mountain just to put a restaurant on top of? I don't know, I feel like, and this is mostly based on my own builds, not to do with anyone else, because every time I see other people's builds, I'm like, wow, like, how did you come up with such a genius idea? But I come up with a lot of builds that are like, oh, you did a swimming pool? Cool, what's so special about it? And I honestly could not tell you what's special about it. It's really not, it's just a pool. So yeah, if you feel like I'm talking about you, I'm absolutely not. I'm talking about myself. So yeah, this is why I love the fact that I did an Asian-inspired restaurant. I am hoping that when people see it, that they could see perhaps maybe it being Korean, but if it's not, definitely let me know, because again, I want to be a bit more accurate to the builds. I want people to look at it and be able to identify that. But also I recognize that there are probably a bunch of people out there like me who could look at that and go, okay, it's Asian inspired, and not be able to say where specifically. I definitely feel like this is a little bit more Japanese inspired, but I could be wrong. I, again, know nothing about anything, and this absolutely could be wrong. So, yeah. But I did do some research before doing this build. I didn't just jump into it fully blind. So when I had a look at the CC packs that I was using, I found that this particular, I think it was the Kyoto one from, oh, you're really testing me. I don't know any of my CC creators. I really should. But yeah, when I looked at the packs that I had installed, like CC packs that I had installed that were inspired by Asian places, a lot of them said they were inspired by multiple different places, so they'd combined all of the inspiration into one. And so for me, it was a bit more, yes, this is kind of generic in terms of Asian style, But yeah, I definitely tried to, I don't know, tried to be a bit more accurate. So one of them is Phaon by Felix Andre, and apparently this is very inspired by the Min and Qing dynasty, which, if I'm not wrong, that is China. Please let me know if I'm wrong as well. I did a lot of history as a kid, and I did a lot of history growing up and whatnot, and yeah, there's so much that I just don't remember any of it. But the Kyoto is also by Felix Andre, and I believe there was one of these kits, CC packs, that said it was inspired by, trying to find it to verify, because I remember seeing it somewhere. Inspired by, okay, I can't seem to find it. Okay, there is this, it's very Japanese inspired. That's what I thought. So yeah, I that's why I felt it was very Japanese inspired, was because a lot of these packs were Chinese or Japanese, Korean, no, Chinese or Japanese inspired. So yeah, trying to make a Korean inspired build out of things that are inspired by China and Japan might be a little difficult if you're trying to be accurate to the specific styles, but I worked with what I had. So yeah, again, if I made mistakes, if I did anything wrong, if there's a specific thing that wouldn't exist within Korea, please, again, let me know down below what parts of it are accurate or inaccurate. But anyway, I still had a lot of fun with this build. I did do it over on stream. So yeah, if you want to see me stream builds, or you want to see the builds that I stream, definitely head over to my Twitch. Because yeah, I have a lot of fun sharing these builds with you guys and just, you know, getting in and getting them done and having a bit of fun with them. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to streaming. I've been a little bit slack with streaming at the moment because of this challenge, but I feel like once this challenge is over, I will definitely be straight back into it, working my way through a lot of the builds for the Pokemon build series. So yeah, before I talk about the Pokemon build series, I should probably tell you about this challenge, which, if you don't know, is called the A to Z challenge. It is a build and cast challenge. It used to just be a build challenge, but now I have made it a cast challenge. So there are two versions. There's the version I do, and there's the version I put out for you guys to do. Now, the reason why there's two versions is because if you look at when I do it in 1 month. I do it in February, in 26 days, and it is a lot. It is intense, it is a lot of building, and it's something that I would not want to put you guys through. It's a lot. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, in February, I do 26 builds in 26 days, and then share those with you guys. And then from July to December, I run it as a weekly challenge. It's technically 26 mini challenges, where each week you get a new letter, yes, but you don't have to participate in all weeks, hence why it is a 26 mini challenges rather than one 26-week challenge with 26 different builds, because you're not expected to do all of them. And it's not just building, it's also CAS. I keep forgetting CAS exists, it's a thing. Let's you know, acknowledge that, because I forget a lot, and I'm very sorry to you people who love CAS. It's just, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I forget it exists. I don't play with it, but just because I don't play with it doesn't mean you don't, and I want to make sure that, yeah, if you do want to take part in the challenge, that you can. So yeah, like I said, each week you get a new letter and you build or cast based on that letter. And that's pretty much it. So the only rule I have for it is that you cannot use CC. Now, I know I'm using CC, but I'm also doing it in 26 days, so I'm allowing myself to break the rules. You know, I'm kind of putting myself through a stupidly difficult situation where I am doing a bajillion different things, and yeah, it's a little bit much. So I I do use CC, but it is the only time I do use CC. So when I am not doing this challenge, I do not use it, so that if you guys do want to download some of my builds and play with them, that you absolutely can, and yeah, you're not stuck with CC only builds. And I know that can be especially annoying for people who don't use CC. So yeah, to be honest with you guys, I haven't even uploaded any of these builds yet. I probably will. It's just that I haven't opened the game in like a week, because I've just been editing a lot of videos and a lot of shorts and putting them out there and whatnot. So today is going to be the first day in probably a week that I've been able to open the game, and I'm just going to build. I'm going to build until it hits basically dinner time, and then after dinner I'm going to be editing. So hopefully that means I am a little panicked. I am a little behind on some of my builds, and what I expect to be, but yeah, at the same time, I think if I can do some building today, that I will get a bunch of it done, and I will be feeling really good about that. But yeah, you know, today, yeah, well, actually with today's building, it's honestly just like last minute cluttering. I haven't verified how much of the other build that I've done that I need to finish, but it's a pretty big file, so I'm pretty sure we're already at the limit of, oh yeah, I think that's long enough. So the video I'm going to edit is probably not going to include a lot of the cluttering, which is fine. But it also means that if I've only got cluttering left and I'm not recording it, it means I can just jump in and do a bunch of building and then not have to worry about, am I putting this in a video or not, and having to edit it and sort through that. It's going to save me a lot of time. But then the build after that is done, which means even tonight, if I can get 2 videos edited, that'd be fantastic. And then tomorrow I can do more building. I say that a lot. I feel like in a lot of videos I'm like, ooh, if I do this and I do that, and then I kind of stress myself out because I'm like, that's kind of a lot to do, but then I get stressed because it's a lot to do, but then I don't do anything because I'm stressed. So, you know, we're just going to take it one moment at a time. You know, I've got the list of everything I want to do. Some of them are a bit big, but some of them I already know that I could do them really small. Like, they do not have to be big at all. I absolutely could make them much smaller builds. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to relax and just get things done one at a time. I can already tell that the build that's due tomorrow, like I said, last minute cluttering. The one after that, already done. Then the 2 builds after that, I can make small. Like, I absolutely can make them small. And I would say most of the other ones I could also make pretty small. There's a few that I don't want to, but I'm gonna make them small. I'm going to make them small because if I make them any bigger, I will just run out of all time to be able to do them. So I think, yeah, it definitely reduces my stress looking at the fact that majority of them are going to be small. I think 2, 3 of them are not, but the rest of them I absolutely could make small. So I'm going to lean into that. I'm going to have fun with doing some more small builds, which I've been doing for the Pokemon build series, which is something I said I was going to talk about and then just completely forgot. So if you're pretty new here, the Pokemon build series is something that I started up this year where every single Pokemon is getting its own build. Now, I'm not a die-hard Pokemon fan. Did I play Pokemon growing up? Yes. Did I have every single Pokemon growing up? No. Did I even finish any Pokemon game? Also no. I mean, I know there's no, like, technical definition of finishing. You can play it however you want and whatnot, but, like, I've never finished all the gyms, I've never collected all the Pokemon, I've never done all of the like, secret stuff that you can do, I've never unlocked all of the things within these games and whatnot. So the fact that I haven't even caught all the Pokemon tells you, yeah, I don't know much about all of them. But I can look at a lot of these Pokemon and come up with build ideas. So I'm not too worried about this challenge. So some of you might look at a Pokemon and be like, why did you build that for that Pokemon? And the answer is because I looked at it and that's what I saw. So it's sort of just a build series that is loosely inspired by these Pokemon. It's a build series where I don't know, I just kind of look at it and go, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I see. Some of them are pretty, like, okay, that makes sense. You know, like before I was talking about doing a pool build, and that's something I did. I built a, like, kind of like a learn to swim class pool lot for Squirtle, I think it was. Because when you look at Squirtle, I don't know about you guys, but when I look at Squirtle, I see a very, like, it's very child friendly and cute and water based. It's a water based Pokemon, and I can imagine that in any of the Pokemon places that you could definitely have a learn to swim teacher with Squirtle Pokemon as their Pokemon. Like, I 100% could see that. That's without a doubt in my mind something I could see. But some of them I look at and go, wow, like, you remind me of this thing here that's not necessarily related to you. Like, one of them I built it's basically a horse race track. I don't like horse racing, but it's Sims, so it doesn't really exist. It's not really a thing. But yeah, I built like a horse race track, and it was for Spearow, I think, because it's a fast bird. And what does fast mean? Fast to me, it looks like something that would race, and so that's kind of how I got to that. So some of them you can kind of see, and then others it's just kind of like you have these colors, and these colors remind me of this. So they're all kind of like, who knows how I got to them. Some of them make sense, some of them don't, and I love it. I love this whole series. In fact, I have a whole spreadsheet just for this series, and I'm already 20% of the way through Gen 1. Like, how crazy is that? I worked on it for a month, and I'm 20% of the way through Gen 1. I'm 3% of the way through the whole challenge. But, like, Gen 1 is really close to being finished. I originally had it set up in a way with my spreadsheet that it looked like I was only 0.3% done, but it turns out I put in the equations wrong, the calculations wrong, and so it came out being like really, really, really small compared to what it actually was. And then I fixed it up and I felt so much less stressed. Like, actually being able to see that progress and not going, I might not actually finish this before I get to the end of my life. No, I definitely will. There's a lot of progress that can definitely happen within this series, and it just turns out I had bad maths. But I fixed it up, and I've also been keeping track, not for this series, but like the A to Z challenge, but for the Pokemon series, I have been keeping track of the worlds that I've been using and the lot sizes. And the worlds are a little bit more spread out. 12.9% is the highest amount that any world has gotten, and that's split between 4 different worlds. So Henford, Copperdale, Chestnut, and Oasis Springs. They've all got 12.9%, and then everything else is smaller than that. I don't think I've used every single world, but I've used a good portion of them. But the lot sizes, 41.9% are 30 by 20, which I want more of that. I want it to be dominated by all of the small builds. I mean, okay, the smallest lot that I've got on here is 20 by 15, and it's only 6.5%. But the 64 by 64 lot is 3.2%, which I think is only one lot that I used that big, based on memory alone. So, you know, there are some things within this challenge that it's not just doing the builds and coming up with the ideas, but it also helps me figure out what I've used, what I haven't used, what worlds are good, and I think I'm even going to go to the point of I've already written down all of the packs that I've used, so I might even start doing that when I feel like I have a chance, so I can kind of figure out what packs I actually like. Like, I could say that this pack or that pack is my favorite, but what ones do I actually use a lot? because I could think that I use a specific pack a lot and I wouldn't know, but this would help me know. And I know with this challenge that I'm kind of forced into certain sizes in certain worlds, but the stuff that I use within it, provided it's not a what are they called, the starter Pokemon? The starter Pokemon are pack restricted, the rest are not. So, you know, having pack restricted builds, yes, does restrict what I actually use, but outside of that, what are the packs that I actually use? Like, what are the most common ones? And typing it all up, because I take screenshots of the packs that I use and then I type it up into the videos, I can see that Life and Death is definitely one that I use a lot. But the problem is, when you type, when you're writing down the list, it puts the packs and kits in order of release. So the ones that are most recently released will be at the top. So of course I'm going to remember what I write first, and it's Life and Death because it's the most recent thing for that. So, you know, I want to know the true stats on this. I do love some good statistics. So, yeah, I think at the end of Gen 1, I will go in and do that and let you guys know. And I'll probably, start recording that somewhere. I already have kind of figured out how I want to do it, so it will be very, very interesting to see the packs that are used, how many are used and how many are not, and to break it down by like each generation, each Pokemon type. I think that one would be super interesting. So I could go in and be like, okay, if this Pokemon has this type, what packs am I likely to use? I think that would be super interesting to look at. It's you know, maybe it would be different for every person, but I just want to know, for me, what packs am I more likely to use for certain Pokemon. So yeah, definitely keep an eye and ear out for that. It'll probably be something I announce over on the community tab, just so that, if you want to know these things like I do, you can see it, but if you don't, that's fine. You don't have to check it out. But it'll be something that's, like months away. And will also take some time to put together. Thankfully, I have all of these things written down already, so I just have to basically copy and paste. But yeah, it's the whole setting it up and setting it up in a way that I can go, okay, cool, I just want to look at this bit of data. I just want to look at this bit of data. So yeah, that may take some time. But, you know, I've studied a lot of statistics at uni, thanks to my, I was going to say accounting degree, that's not the one. My psychology degree. My psychology degree required me to have a look at a lot of statistics and statistics courses, and let me tell you, it was they were my least favorite classes, because they were just so, like, okay, if you're going into psychology, you're thinking about feelings and emotion and how does the brain work, and cool, we'll look at a little bit of biology and chemistry and stuff like that, but like, I wasn't planning on looking at maths. Not to say that I don't care about maths, because I went on to do a business course majoring in accounting, so clearly maths is fine with me, but it was just like, I did not really expect this or want this, and here we are with a bajillion classes of statistics, and they just keep happening, and I'm over them. I don't want to do any more of them. But you know, I'm done with uni, thankfully. No more classes around maths that make me want to cry, and the things that make me want to cry are things that I'm subjecting myself to, such as doing a build pretty much every single day. But that's okay. We're here. We're doing it. It's fine. And I know I say, like, jokingly, haha, it makes me cry, but I enjoy this. I think it's really fun. It helps me with my creativity. It helps me with, like, editing videos. It's a little bit monotonous, but it also is something that sometimes I need a little bit of monotony in my life. I need I'm sitting here and doing the same thing over and over again, but then when I'm being creative, I need to be able to get out and be creative. So it kind of gives me both sides of the coin that I am looking for, and I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, I'm subjecting myself to something I enjoy. So at the end of the day, it's not, there's no parts of this that I'm really forced to do, because if I don't want to do them, I simply don't. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I don't know, it's a very enjoyable process for me, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But anyway, yeah, we are kind of getting close to the end of this build. It's a lot of cluttering that I go around and doing at the last minute. I feel like a lot of people have particular build styles, and some people will work room by room, some people will work outside to inside, some people will work inside to outside. Some people will have a, like, okay, I want this room to look like this, and kind of build from that room out. We all have different styles, and I feel like I don't have a 100% set style, but I think for me, traditionally, I go from, okay, here is the shape of the shell that I'm going with. This is kind of what I want it to look like from the outside. So here is the outside of the build. As you probably saw at the start of this video, I was working on like the roofing and the wallpaper and making sure that the outside didn't look flat, but the outside of the build, not the outside as in terms of the landscaping of the lot and whatnot. Because generally what I do is, here's the outside, here's what makes it look good, let's go to the inside and figure out a floor plan. And normally by then I've already done windows, and that can either be my best or worst friend, depending on the build and how I did the windows. But yeah, then I will go in and it divvies up between two. So sometimes I will go in and do all of the basic furniture. So, okay, I'm doing a kitchen and I need cabinets and a dining table, and in the lounge room I need a lounge and a TV, and a bedroom I need a bed and a bedside table and whatever. And then I'll go through and clutter. But what I feel like I typically do is I will work room by room. Sometimes I will jump back and forth between the rooms, because I will be going through and being like, okay, here is I don't know, let's say I'm working on the bedroom and I come across an item that I want to put in the bathroom, but I haven't started on the bathroom yet. Then I will start on the bathroom so that I can put that item in. And it just becomes, a little bit of a round bit of like, okay, I work on majority of a room, and then I go work on a majority of another room, and then I come back and do last minute clutter on everything. And then I go do outside, which is what I am currently working on now. I think the interior is completely done, and this is just me trying to figure out the exterior, which I'm not 100% sold on, but I'm also not 100% upset about. It's kind of like, in between. It's okay, I can live with it, it's fine. So yeah, definitely let me know down below your thoughts, feelings, opinions, feedback on said build. If there are things that you think are ugly and stupid and dumb, or if there are things that you think I did pretty well. Because, I'm kind of 50-50 with this lot. Like, there are aspects of it that I'm like, this looks really nice. Like, I love the amount of detail I went to with the walls of this build. So there's those wooden, I don't know, the wooden pieces that I found, and I kind of used them to create a bit of depth and texture on the wall, and I'm really glad I did that. I think it looks really good. And I'm not talking about the weird battens on the front there that are just covering the whole wall. I'm just talking about the little ones that you can kind of see on the sides of the walls and on the inside and at the back. But those battens at the front and the back, I'm not too sure about how I feel. I don't know if I like them. I don't know if they match. I don't know if I did it wrong. So yeah, definitely some feedback on. I sometimes will show people something and be like, I don't know what's off about it. Like, what part of it is not sitting right with me? And they'll be like, well, this thing here for me, like, I think it's this, and it clicks, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's absolutely that. So I find, stuff like that to be really helpful for me to identify what I did right or wrong within a build, and when I can identify what I did right or wrong, I can avoid it in the future and make better builds for you guys. So yeah, if you feel like you know what I did wrong, or if you have an opinion or feeling on something, I mean, even if I've said I've liked something and you don't, you can absolutely disagree with me. I have no issues with that. So yeah, definitely let me know down below thoughts and feelings and feedback. Because it was definitely a very interesting build to have worked on, and I kind of want to work on more stuff like this. I want the builds that I do to feel more like not samey. I want to do more things that are different, is essentially what I'm trying to say. I don't want to just do the same old day in, day out. And I do sometimes do a lot of the same old. Like, I do a lot of like brutalist industrial styled stuff. That is something I'm very comfortable with, and I think you can tell I'm comfortable with it because it doesn't look terrible, in my opinion. Again, if you disagree, if you think it's ugly, absolutely, you can definitely let me know that. But yeah, I definitely try and do builds that are different to what I normally do, and try new styles and things like that, because I don't know, I like the idea of giving everything a little go. I like the idea that, yeah, cool, I could get really, really, really good at this one thing, but what if I do all of these things and I'm mediocre at it? You know, like, what if I'm decently, I say decent, what if I'm passing at it? What if you guys look at it and go, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. Not the end of the world. That's kind of what I am after, is being able to improve on what I do and making it better. So yeah, I don't know, long way about roundabout way of saying, let me know your thoughts and feedback below on my builds, especially if you've seen a lot of them, if you've enjoyed them, if you haven't, whatever, if you think I've gotten better at something or worse at something, I'd love to know, especially the people who are really good at other styles of build. Your feedback is absolutely, yeah, something I love and keen for. And I that's what I love about streaming, is I can sit there and be like, I don't know what's wrong, and people can give me that direct feedback, so my builds can improve as I'm sitting there, instead of me kind of trying to figure it out on my own. Like tomorrow's build, the roofing, I absolutely got help live roofing, and it was fantastic to get that help, because the roofing looks so much better now thanks to Gia Sims for Life over on Twitch. A fantastic builder who just knows how to do so many different things, and very inspirational. So definitely check out Gia. I don't think Gia has a YouTube account channel thing, but yeah, definitely over on Twitch and Instagram. So definitely check them out because they're amazing. And yeah, definitely have helped me with a lot of my builds in the recent past. And yeah, I'm all about hyping the people who help me or give me inspiration, because y'all make me better builders, and you know, mad respects and props to all of you. But yeah, now we are truly getting towards the end of the build here. I'm not quite sure what... Oh, okay, doing signs, cool. But yeah, we're very, very close to the end here. If you have enjoyed my ramblings and my weird tangents that I go on a lot of the times, I mean, yesterday I asked you guys, what do you like about cheese or so? I don't know, I was talking about cheese. If you want to know what I was talking about, I don't remember, but if you want to know, definitely go check that out. But yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this and listen to me ramble about the most random weird things usually, definitely make sure to subscribe. It definitely lets me know that you guys enjoy my building and or my rambling. Although, to be honest with you guys, if I were you guys, I would listen to me. I wouldn't listen to me, I would just watch. I would mute and watch. Because sometimes these builds are... I mean, I don't think my builds are personally inspirational, but that's because I'm the one who built them. But I do find watching other builders to be inspirational. So, yeah. Anyway, that's probably enough of me rambling. So, yeah, like I said, if you've enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe. and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.